Morning, Matthew. How are you?
I do know that you always put the song on thinking of me coming up, so stuck in the middle. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, is it?
I don't know. You make up your mind.
I'll take the positive then.
All right, you're always glass half full.
That's right.
Facebook community pages. Now, there's a bit of trouble there with legal action over defamatory comments because it appears after a High Court ruling that if you make a defamatory comment about someone, obviously you can be sued, but even on a community page, you might like to explain a little bit further.
Well, this is something that came up because, say, media organisations, for example, or public figures might have had a Facebook page and people say all sorts of defamatory things. And the High Court ruled that not just the person making the defamatory comment, but the person who runs that page can be liable. Now, for a media organisation, they might have a team of lawyers or they might have insurances in place. So they weren't over the moon about it, but they've got processes in place that allow them to actually have that process occur. But for the good old-fashioned community page, something that's set up just to help out the community, it might be some little town, it might be a sporting group, all sorts of community pages exist. The High Court ruling applies to them as well. So if I go onto a community page and make some terrible defamatory comment and someone sues me, they could also sue the person who runs that community page, who is typically just a person doing something good for the community. They don't have a big bank balance behind them or insurance companies behind them. They have themselves, and so they may be open. So what people are doing now is either shutting down comment sections on some of these community pages, or they've decided it's all too hard and they're just shutting down those pages, which is terrible for that community contact, in particular while we're in lockdown. But I just think in general, it's a great way that people can stay connected, but they're not. You're even finding politicians at the moment. The Tasmanian Premier, he's shut down his Facebook page because he's worried about being sued. The ACT Chief Minister shut down the page there. So people are responding by just saying it's all too hard.
Yep, well, I shut down mine.
Yeah, right. There you go.
For that very reason. Yep. And people were making comments there, and I just, go. One person in particular, I thought, go away, so I just shut everything down. I don't have Twitter, I don't have any of Instagram, got nothing. Yeah. No Facebook, nothing.
Which is a great shame, and this is the problem, and I think it's going to take some more court cases to decide whether or not some of those people can be liable, because they're saying that even if you're not aware of the comments that are made on there, you can still be liable. So you can be a moderator, you can moderate it straight away, but if someone's taken a screenshot of it, that might be enough for someone to go and sue.
Yeah. Be very, very careful about it all. That's all I know. And having been given the new defamation laws by our company solicitor for the radio station here, and having read them closely and effectively, that's why I shut down Facebook. No way. You're asking for trouble. You really are. Yeah. You've got to be so careful. All right, Netflix being sued by South Korea over guess what? Squid Game. Hey, how about that?
Have you watched Squid Game yet?
No, I haven't. Because it's a series and I haven't had time. But everybody's going crazy about Squid Game and clickbait, and I've got to watch both of them. But anyway, what's happening with South Korea? They want a piece of the action, do they?
They want a piece of the action. Their internet traffic has gone up dramatically. In fact, across the world, internet traffic has gone up from Squid Game. It's number one Netflix show in 90 countries at the moment. So internet traffic's going up all over the place. SK Broadband in South Korea says, well, Netflix, this is your fault that people are using so much traffic, so we want you to pay us. And of course, Netflix said no, so they're now suing Netflix to get some money out of them. They're saying that their traffic has gone up from May 2018 till now, so basically 3 years. They said their traffic has gone up by 24 times, and they're blaming most of that on Netflix and on shows like Squid Game. Obviously, there's other shows out there as well. So this has been a big thing. Now, in South Korea, some other content providers do actually pay the internet service providers. So Amazon, Apple and Facebook are all paying internet service providers in South Korea. But YouTube, and owned by Google obviously, and Netflix are not paying, and they're saying that they should be. Now, on Netflix's side of it, they're saying our job is to provide the content. Your job is to get the content from our servers through to your customers. Your customers are paying you, so there's no obligation on us to pay you anything. The courts in South Korea are saying that's a little bit different, and not surprisingly, they're falling on the side of the South Korean broadband providers rather than a multinational organisation like Netflix. So there's a bit more to play out in this, I think. It's interesting as well, in America, Netflix does pay one internet service provider, but they're paying that for additional traffic components. So it's not just a random blanket, here we're using internet traffic, we'll pay you. They do pay one internet service provider in the US.
Yeah, all right, we'll wait and see on that one, but I don't like Netflix chance, quite frankly. Well, no. I mean, the provider can do all sorts of things to make it very difficult for them.
Correct.
Can't they?
They hold the power.
They hold the power. Now, farmers, stand by. This could be a bit of a worry for you guys. The future for cropping, open expanses of land, are dated, are numbered. Apparently we're going to do it in high-rise buildings. Is that right?
It does sound crazy, doesn't it? And I think our farmers around this area are okay, and probably in Australia in general. We've got lots of land, we've got lots of sun. I think we'll keep using some of those conventional farming methods for some time. This more applies, I think, in places like a New York or a London or some of those highly populated cities around the world. This first one is built in Copenhagen, or on the edge of Copenhagen. It's called Nordic Harvest. It's a 14-storey high building that's basically got nothing but produce growing in there. Now, they've got wind-powered farms to provide the electricity because it's not relying on the sun, it's relying on LED lights. They've got a closed environment, so they don't have to worry about pesticides because they keep the pests out of the whole environment altogether. They're recycling the water through the facility. They use a gel that's got just the right nutrients in there. The bottom line is they use 250 times less water, 80 times fewer greenhouse gases are produced to produce the same amount of produce. And the real bonus is they can grow all year round. You're not relying on the sun or the weather conditions or the rain. You're relying on this whole facility producing the power to be able to go through and then produce the produce. So again, it's a real advantage for some of those people in those large cities because the transport, again, is not needed. You don't have to worry about growing the crops out in the regional area and then getting it into the city. You've got it all there where it's needed. I can see this being the future of growing some produce in some large cities in other places outside Australia.
I've got one question. How much of the building and how much did all the infrastructure cost? And are they going to see a return on the tomatoes or whatever they grow inside 5 years? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. Really, the cost side is one part of it, but as our population keeps growing around the world, we've got to feed the population. I think it's going to get to that point where you'll have no choice but to have a combination of conventional farming like we have and some of this sort of farming.
Yes, indeed. Well, they're going to try it on Mars anyway as
That's
well.
Right.
So
They've got to get ready for Mars.
Yeah, we'll find out that with Space Nuts tomorrow night. Now, finally might be a solution to make people on a video call look a bit better than they do at the moment. And how's that going to work?
Well, it is a frustration that I have because I get on a video call sometimes and people have got a great big light behind them or they've got the sun behind them or they're looking up the nose. And so you just feel like saying, look, just spend 2 minutes and set yourself up properly. But you don't want to sit there and start lecturing to people on a video conference. But now someone's actually made a monitor that's designed to basically make it nice and easy for people. So the first thing they've done is they've built lights into the screen that shine onto your face. So, hallelujah, we can actually see someone's face rather than having a dark glob where someone's face is. So that's a huge bonus.
Or a pink face,
or a pink face.
Barnaby Joy's face.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a huge bonus. They've also put the high-quality video camera central, so you can actually look like you're looking at the camera and also looking at the screen at the same time. It's a high-quality monitor for a start, so you can actually get a good view of the person you're looking at, decent-sized screen so you can see them, and also high-quality microphone and high-quality speakers so people can hear you rather than some vague echo at the end of the actual phone or at the end of a video conference. It also makes it easy to get a headset going because sometimes you get on those video conferences and the first 5 minutes are people playing around, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Get this plugged in here. How do I get this going? So they've made it nice and easy. So it's really just a monitor that's designed to make all of those video conference things go away and you just plug it in and start using it and it all works. And my only complaint, Richard, is why has it taken 18 months before someone's actually brought this out?
Worked with that. I was going to say exactly the same thing back to you. Matthew, always good talking with you on Tech Talk. We might even see you in here next week, I think.
Oh, wow. Wouldn't that be good?
Well, I think because are you double vaccinated and all those sort of things?
All those things, yeah. So that might be nice.
So you've been a good boy.
Yes, that's right.
Been a good boy. So we might get you in the studio next week. It'll be rather good.
Very exciting. I've never been so excited to see you, Richard.
So no, have you had a haircut?
I've had a haircut, yes. I gave myself one. I had no choice. It was getting too long. Had to get the clippers out.
Tell me about it. Yeah, I look like a woolly mammoth at the moment. All right. We'll maybe see you next Wednesday. Mathew Dickerson with Tech Talk here on DCFM 88.9. Thanks, mate. See you.
Thanks, Richard.
It's 9:30 right now.